Children are much more sensitive to herbs than adults, and babies are even more sensitive to herbs than children. So let's talk about the use of herbs and the dosage of herbs for kids, and also some herbs that are commonly used for kids and some herbs to avoid with kids. For babies and young children, you're going to give them a very small dose of an herb if you give them an herb. And sometimes for babies, since they're so sensitive, I actually give them homeopathic remedies only. And babies respond well to homeopathy. Anyway, for a baby, I might give them only a fifth of a teaspoon. What is that? That's almost a few drops, 5 drops of an herbal tea. And for a 5-year-old child, I might give them 2 teaspoons of an herbal tea. Whereas I might have the whole cup. Sometimes with babies, if the baby needs an herb, we'll give the herb to the mother, and then through breastfeeding, the baby will get the herb. And this is, by the way, according to Sebastian, an expert Ayurvedic herbalist. When children are between 5 and 12 years old, they can get 1/4 to 1/2 of the adult dose of the herb. Or another way of formulating it is called Cowling's dose, where you divide their age at their next birthday by 24 to give the fraction of the dose. So if a child is turning 8 in a few months, you're going to divide 8 by 24. That's 1/3. So you'll give them 1/3 of the normal adult dose. For teenagers and adults that are 12 plus, you can give them 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of the herb 2 to 3 times a day. That's the normal dose. Of course, that dosage depends on the strength of the herb and also depends on the weight of the child and also the sensitivity of the child. If the child has a weak liver, they're going to be more sensitive. If they have a really strong liver, they'll be less sensitive. There are many herbs that are commonly used for kids. In Ayurveda, one of them is Chyawanprash. This is especially for Vata kids. Chyawanprash can strengthen immunity. It can help fight off colds and also improve energy. In fact, Chyawanprash is also used as an adult tonic in the fall. Ashwagandha, another great herb for kids that is strength building. It's helpful to reduce stress and anxiety, especially if your kid has lots of homework and tests and finals coming up. Fennel tea can reduce gas and bloating. And I've used that with all my children whenever they've had colic. A little bit of fennel tea works well. Triphala can help as a laxative. And, For my kids, I tend not to give them triphala. I tend to give them harataki, which is one of the ingredients in triphala. It's also a laxative, but I find it just a little bit more gentle. I think bibataki, which is in triphala, is a little bit more irritating. So for my kids, if I'm going to help them with constipation and food isn't working, I might try something like harataki. I always go for food before herbs, especially with kids. For Pitta Kids, some practitioners recommend Shatavari, especially for teenage girls, supporting healthy menstruation in teenage girls. But you have to be cautious with Shatavari. It is estrogenic. And a lot of teens are already on hormone overload. But if your teen is on hormone underload, then it may be helpful. And there's lots of estrogens xenoestrogens, chemical-based estrogens in plastics and things like that. So just be careful giving estrogenic herbs. John Douillard recommends 500 milligrams for an adolescent girl twice a day, or 3 times a day twice a day for preventative, 3 times a day to correct. You can also give Pitta Kids a little pinch of turmeric. Not too much, because turmeric in excess aggravates Pitta, but in a reasonable small dose, a quarter teaspoon or eighth of a teaspoon, depending on the age of the child, or even just a pinch if it's a baby. Turmeric can help with digestive inflammation, diarrhea, skin inflammation, and rashes. Again, Triphala or Haritaki, which is less irritating, can promote regular elimination. And also, neem. Neem is an intense herb, but it's a safe herb. But it's still intense, so small doses of neem can be helpful for teenagers who have acne. And Mangista, which is kind of like turmeric, but a more cooling version of turmeric, can also be helpful if your teenager has acne. Amalaki is a great herb for Pitta and Pitta even for children. In fact, Amalaki is one of the main ingredients in Chyawanprash. Also, aloe vera. Aloe vera can be a little depleting, but if you're going with a mild dose, then it can be good for Pitta Kids. Kapha kids need the more spicy, invigorating herbs like Trickatu. But Trickatu is intense, so mix it with milk and honey. That can help your Kapha kid with runny noses, allergies, sinus infections, and sore throats. And also Triphala or Haritaki to promote regular elimination, stimulate sluggish elimination. Generally, Kapha kids who have constipation do really well with a little bit of lime juice and some bitter herbs. Usually when Kapha kids have constipation, it's because of insufficient bile. So think about that. And then fenugreek is a nice digestive for kids. Turmeric also can be helpful for a Kapha kid when there's cold, runny nose, or cough. Honey. Honey is an expectorant. It can also soothe a sore throat. Sometimes I'll mix the honey with Trickatu or a spice, or even turmeric, so that it's warming and really helps with those upper respiratory infections and sore throats and mucus, etc. Here are some common herbs that are unsafe for kids. Castor oil. Now, you'll see that some books recommending small quantities of castor oil for children with constipation. But remember that castor oil is harsh. Don't overdo it. It can be depleting, and also it's irritating to the gut. And why not try food-based remedies for constipation first, such as 2 really ripe bananas or prunes. Golden seal. Golden seal can actually cause brain damage in newborn infants because it contains berberine. Licorice root can also harm a child's developing brain, according to a Finnish study. So yeah, watch out for any really intense or harsh herb. Do your research before giving your child a new herb.